Hello everyone, sadly guys, I have bad news for you. There is very high probability that it's going to get much worse before it even gets better. So therefore, without any further ado, let's just jump straight into this. And our trade over on Bybit is back at basically break even. So let me show you what I'm personally doing, because I did not scale it yet. Because you can see it still is 2.3 million. I didn't scale it yet, but I will show you exactly the point where I'm going to be adding to it, which is going to be, in my opinion, the bottom for this current range before we actually go into the bull run. So anyway, if you're brand new to the channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment down below for the algorithm so more people actually see this content. And let's just dive straight into this. First of all, we'll give you an update when it comes to Ethereum Spot Etf accumulation. And we saw yesterday, actually, it's looking quite good, and at the same time, it is looking quite bad. So it looks quite bad in terms of Grayscale. Look, Grayscale is dumping like crazy. So in comparison to how much they're holding of Ethereum and how much they're holding of Bitcoin on day one of Bitcoin Spot ETF, they're dumping basically just as much. So, and for Ethereum, it is painful. Even though we were seeing accumulation from other ones, so like BlackRock, 70 million, 260 million, 17 million, certainly it is not as crazy as, for example, with Bitcoin Spot ETF. But remember that all we want to see is at least 20 to 25% of that of Bitcoin's volume, and it is already amazing. So we are actually beating the expectations with this. I'm going to give you some more data here. But Grayscale thing, yeah, it is, as I said before, it is going to continue, unfortunately. So now let's discuss the news, and then I'll put it into perspective as to for how long this is going to be happening and what is going to be the price of Ethereum when this is done. So let's just jump straight into this. And this is, actually, you know what? First of all, remember guys that I'm trading over on Bybit, and with my exclusive link down in the description of this video, you can create an account. And with this account, if you're a whale, for example, if you deposit more than $100,000, you'll be able to get a 42% discount on your trading fees. And if you're not a whale and you're trading with smaller amount, you can still claim up to $30,000 in initial deposit bonuses, only because you've used my link down in the description of this video and other bonuses you can see on the screen here. So also, if you still have, if you already have a Bybit account, you can create a new one using a different form of identification, like for example, a driver's license. So anyway, let's just jump straight into this. And before we come back to the chart, let me give you some news, some context, and then we'll move back to the chart and I'll show you what I personally expect, because the expectations have to be adjusted based on what we were finding in the market and based on what we see, and we have to be reasonable and not emotional. So we have to be actually following the data. Now, first of all, which is good news for crypto in general, that Russian parliament passes a bill that allows for Bitcoin and crypto to be used for international trade. So BRICS thing coming in, are they going to be using Bitcoin, or are they going to be using their own thing? So there is, I mean, BRICS are developing their own payment system, and this has been out there for a very long time. I mentioned it before. So, and they are actually unbanning crypto. So this is bullish. Now, the next thing, which I need to give you in terms of the news, is that the reason why everything has dumped, generally speaking, certainly Ethereum has dumped among it has dumped quite a lot, but that is just because of Grayscale. But everything else also didn't help. The US stock market took a hit of actually 1.3 trillion, and S&P had its worst dump since 2022. NASDAQ has had its worst day since September 2022, and it was pretty insane. So I mean, everything was red. Why? Because of the earnings, and the market has taken it as a very negative, because they thought, okay, if the earnings are horrible, the Tesla dumped like 10%. So they were saying, okay, if this is, so therefore actually Ethereum didn't do as badly as many think, because even Tesla dumped like 10%. And Tesla is much bigger in terms of market cap than Ethereum. Just picture that in your mind. So anyway, and this happened because of the earnings. However, then the market actually, if you take a look, it has rebounded a little bit and everything looks quite red until this came about. So from one hand, we have bad earnings, but on the other hand, GDP came in, like two pieces of economic data. GDP, gross domestic product, grew by 2.8%, and the expectation was 2%. So the economy in the US is roaring. It's like, it's crazy. It is amazing. So, and also another data was that the jobless claims, which is basically unemployment, it fell by 10,000 back to like 235. So we have no unemployment spike, nothing. GDP is roaring. Yes, some bad economic data from some of the companies, But this overall is looking absolutely fantastic. And yeah, so this is also something you need to understand. And one more reason why Bitcoin is actually recovering right now is because Jersey City is in the process, so basically state of New Jersey, is in the process of allocating its pension fund to buy Bitcoin ETFs, as said by the mayor of Jersey City. And remember who was the previous state in the United States who actually bought some ETF through the pension fund. It was the state of Wisconsin. So, and now we have New Jersey. Crazy stuff. I mean, crazy stuff. And remember that tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe, you can take a look, Trump will be speaking in Nashville at the Bitcoin conference, and we really are expecting something huge to happen then. So tomorrow at 2 p.m. And also what we need to understand when it comes to Ethereum before we move to the chart is this right here. On just one trading day of the Ethereum Spot Etf, Ethereum ETFs bought 60% in one day of newly minted Ethereum in the whole of 2024. And please guys, remember, yes, the Ethereum chart is not looking that very great. I'm gonna come to it in just a second. Remember that Ethereum has no minor selling pressure like Bitcoin. It has no dump from Mt. Gox and governments and seized, like a lot of governments have seized a lot of Bitcoin over the years and they're holding it, like Germany has dumped a bunch of Bitcoin, which caused the crash. Ethereum doesn't have this. Ethereum provides actually consistent yield. And as we've seen before, the SEC commissioner, she came out and she said that the actual staking profits could be introduced back and to actually could be reconsidered to be added to spot Ethereum ETFs. So therefore, if it actually provides consistent yield higher than almost any stock in S&P 500 or NASDAQ, it's insane, and also has lower inflation than Bitcoin. I mean, it's deflationary when there is enough volume. And also don't forget about that it's, you know, eco-friendly, this and that, and that it actually is a huge ecosystem for real world assets, etc. So it is actual huge ecosystem that has no selling pressure outside of one thing. One, and that is grayscale. That's the only thing there is. And certainly, I also want you to pay attention to the fact that Ethereum ETFs have traded about, which was the other day, it was like $1 billion, when Bitcoin ETFs had a volume of 1.5 billion. So Ethereum ETFs came in at about 60% of traded volume of Bitcoin ETFs. And remember, we were expecting 20%, 15, 20, 25 would have been good. 60% volume? Wow. This is absolutely huge. So don't let this actually fool you. What has happened now, actually, with this dump of Grayscale, yes, once again, coming back to this right here, that Grayscale is dumping a lot, and they've already dumped $1.1 billion worth of ETH. And as you might remember, they were holding about $10 billion worth of ETH. And just like with the Bitcoin ETF, it was about 50% of Bitcoin actually flowed out of Grayscale ETF. So if we also expect 50% to flow out of Grayscale ETH ETF, that would put it at about 5 billion outflow. And so far we already are at 1.1 billion. So therefore, yes, the dumps will be extremely likely to continue. And if we're like right now, if we go into a smaller time frame, we're saying some kind of a recovery right now, actually. ETH went all the way down to almost 3K, and now we're back up to 32.5. So it is looking okay-ish for now, and some hopium, but quite frankly, I think we still will, the likelihood is incredibly high that we might put in some kind of bull trap here and then actually crash a bit more just because of Grayscale, only because of Grayscale. And again, could we just keep pumping from here? Maybe, but it's very improbable, quite frankly. So for this very reason, I'm not closing my long trade. Rather, I'll be happy to sustain short-term pain, whatever, I don't care. But as soon as it hits around the area of 3K and 2,900, 2,800, at this vicinity, this is where I'm going to be adding to this long trade. I'll make it 2.5 million, 2.7, 3 million, and my target, I really hope to make this a $5 million trade. But I don't know if the market is going to permit me to put in that kind of an order. But for this, I need the price to go really lower. But my expectation currently is that this is not out of the way. And unfortunately, unless something changes here, the actual dumps will continue slowly, bit by bit. And certainly what is going to happen tomorrow is going to also dictate the short-term volatility for crypto in terms of Trump speaking tomorrow in Nashville. So please pay attention to that. And guys, don't fall for FUD. Know your data, understand what is happening right now. Literally in September, rate cut is coming, and everything that is going to be happening literally is around the corner, what we've been waiting for the last 2 fucking years. So position yourself correctly. Check out this quick tutorials how to trade Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies with proper risk and money management. And as always, peace and love. Thomas Crollo. Stay smart, stay very rich. And guys, in 6 months, this trade, if you have similar trade, not financial advice, you'll be rich. I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.